T20 cricket has taken the world by storm. We at EXTV have narrowed it down to 5, so here are the top 5 reasons why T20 cricket is here to stay. Cricket, also dubbed the gentleman's game, has been around for a long time. It's a traditional sport which is massively followed by many people around the planet in the traditional regions such as South Africa, Australia, the West Indies, England, the UK, and all over the planet. It is a huge phenomenon. We all are familiar with the traditional formats, the test match cricket, which is 4 to 5 days of grueling mental drainage of people trying to adjust their tactics, bowling, batting, run rates, etc. Connoisseurs of the game love it. Also the one-day format, which is basically the same thing, just one day. And you can't disagree that it's a fantastic game. However, over the last couple of years or so, it seems as if there's a market that it hasn't been able to reach in the traditional format. There's a lot of people that just did not seem to get it. Millennials, as we are supposedly called, didn't really seem to follow the traditional formats until T20 cricket came along. I'm sure you all know this, but for those who don't, it's definition time.
T20 cricket, sometimes written 2020 and often abbreviated to T20, is a short form of cricket. At the professional level, it was originally introduced by the England and Wales Cricket Board in 2003 for the inter-county competition in England and Wales. In a 2020 game, the two teams have a single innings each, which is restricted to a maximum of 20 overs. A typical 2020 game is completed in about 3 hours, with each innings lasting around 90 minutes and an official 10-minute break between the innings. This is much shorter than the previously existing forms of the game and is closer to the time span of other popular team sports. We now take you back to your regularly scheduled program.
What sets this format apart is that it has implemented the franchise form of the game. So popular in other sports such as football, the NBA, NFL, all those sports that are in your face and you cannot get rid of it. They have managed to merge this thing seamlessly into an amazing product called T20 cricket, and EXTV has managed to narrow it down to just 5. It was very difficult. We went through a tedious, long process, not really, to narrow it down for you guys. So here are EXTV's top 5 reasons why T20 cricket is here to stay. The marketing. So to kick our list off, let's be honest. I'm the perfect example to talk about the marketing. It's no secret, it's the worst kept secret that I'm a fan of football, but I love sports, and I can tell you this, T20 cricket is in your face whether you like it or not. You saw adverts, you saw commercials, you saw the colorful advertisements which drove people crazy, like what is this? Cheerleaders at cricket? That's the first thing that caught my eye. It is an amazing use of marketing techniques to get marketing penetration. And as I said before, I'm a perfect example of this. This thing is phenomenal in its approach, and it has managed to get people who are not traditional fans of the game. This is where it's successful. Everywhere you go, you see logos, franchises, items are being sold. It is impossible to ignore, and you find yourself falling in love with it. A lot of other sports in other countries should take note about how this is done. It was skillfully done. They did their research. They know exactly what people like, maybe before they even did it. I found myself wanting to purchase a Knight Riders jersey, literally, after a couple of weeks of looking at these promos. Now I go to all the games as much as I can. It is a perfect example of how marketing can take a product, reinvent it, and make it into something very, very, very appealing. And that is definitely one of the most appealing things about the marketing aspect, and a worthy number 5 on our list. The games are much shorter. So let's be honest, we live in a fast-paced world, everything is immediate, we need it now, everything is now instantaneous, and T20 cricket, in its genius, managed to take what was a game that usually spread at minimum maybe 1 day down to just a couple hours. It's fantastic, and I could hear all the excuses. People use traditional excuses such as it's too long, it's boring, I usually skip to the last 5 overs, I only look at the game because, you know, I have nothing else to do. And now they have no excuse. The game is condensed into a short, high-impact, energetic format which you cannot resist. It's filled with replays. You can't get a second to breathe. You see cheerleaders in between replays. You see replays on the screen. You hear loud, energetic music. It is simply amazing. You cannot ignore it. And for those who are not fans of the sport, using those same excuses that I used before, really have no excuse, because when you go to the game, it is so short. You could actually go to work, head home, look at the game, take in 2 to 4 hours of non-stop action, which was something that was not traditionally associated with cricket by those who were not real connoisseurs of the game, people who were not really fans. So the shortened version is definitely one of the most genius moves about this entirely new phenomenon for some people. T20 cricket, shorter, love it. The atmosphere. Sport and entertainment go hand in hand. As a sport management student, that is a no-brainer. I mean, I actually did projects trying to understand the science of how it works, and I could assure you, it does. The atmosphere of these games are energetic. Poor raising, you cannot get away from it, and it builds from our last point because they are all correlated. When you're at a game, the music, the atmosphere, the cheerleaders, everything is up. You may not even know what's happening at the game. There are people who are there, and I admit I hung with some people who are not fans of the game, some American guys who never looked at cricket before. These guys, their sports are the NFL, baseball, and they came and they thoroughly enjoyed themselves, seeing those cheerleaders in their skimpy outfits, entertaining them. The runs, 6 fours is basically the equivalent to a home run for these guys.
I understood that reference.
Absolutely loving it. The energy levels are consistent. You don't really get any chance to really sit down and rest. The music is amazing. You don't get the generic one style of music. You hear different styles of music. And I have a feeling that the players have an influence in some of the songs, because you don't hear that generic one style of music that you usually hear with some sports in the Caribbean. So it's a wide array. There's something for everyone. If you have the desire to purchase merchandise, it's in your face. You can't help but get involved. You are selling an experience. And guess what? We are all buying it. So that's a worthy inclusion on our list. Up next, the athleticism evolution. Cricket, for some reason, has been wrongfully stereotyped as not a very athletic sport. And guess what? Wrong. T20 cricket has totally turned that stereotype on its head. Basically, this is a game that people are still trying to figure out. And the good thing about this is, because of its condensed format, which we spoke about before, you get to see a wide array of shots. There's no longer an emphasis on defensive batting. It's all about how many runs you can make. Usually, the guy who stays in gets less preference over the guy who makes a lot of runs. It entertains the crowd. It's just magnificent to look at. Chris Gayle sending one into over the stadiums is pretty much as exciting as it gets. But take away from the batting, the athleticism of the fielders is something that is very, very exciting. I have seen some catches that have been amazing. Unorthodox catches that you do not normally see in cricket, that usually they just didn't do before, and wrongfully, as people did before, stereotyped the game, making it seem like these guys just stand there in their sweaters not doing stuff. You see guys flying through the air, scraping up their knees, diving all over the place, making miraculous catches consistently. Before, people would say, well, you would see that maybe once or twice during a game. Well, as I said before at the beginning, you're wrong. It's seen on a regular basis. It's constant action. It's all action. It's non-stop. I know a couple of the T20 guys, and they definitely implemented some unorthodox training methods. I see that they even use football warm-ups. Some of the guys even use actual five-a-side warm-ups for their games, and it was very exciting to see that this game has evolved so much that their training methods has really been something to look at as a student of the game as well, to see the physiological preparation for such a game. It's exciting, the fans love it, and it's not a big surprise that everybody is just falling in love with this format. So, definitely a worthy addition to our list. And finally on our list, drum roll, all action. Now, it's very difficult to narrow this down to 5, and it's very difficult to choose a number 1, because all of these mentioned before are worthy number 1s. But let's be honest, the key factor for those who don't love the game, the action is non-stop. This point embodies all the points made before. It's all action, it's non-stop, it's paced repeatedly. You do not get a chance to sit down. It embodies all the aspects of exciting elements in sport, and I'm not just speaking about on the field. I spoke about the marketing, the energy of the stadium, the atmosphere, but also it takes the traditional elements of cricket, flips it on its head, and challenges all those people who were skeptical about it. Because when they first came out with this project or this format, a lot of people were skeptical, and guess what? They were wrong. Nothing is more thrilling than seeing Gale drive a six into the crowd or seeing someone do a miraculous catch at close range when somebody drives the ball forward. It's insane. For me, at least, I love seeing the athleticism of the game. A lot of people may criticize and say, well, it's not traditional. And that is why it is good, because it's not traditional. It took a format which is perfectly fine and respect to those who love traditional cricket. I myself like, looking at a test match game every once in a while. But the fact that it's so different is what makes it very, very appealing. It is a condensed version of the game that is tremendously very exciting. It embodies all the elements of exciting sports. You cannot deny that this is a sport that is here to stay. And basically, with all that being said, you cannot deny, as I said at the beginning of this video, T20 cricket is an absolute craze that is not a fad, and it is here to stay. So there you have it, folks. EXTV's top 5 reasons why T20 cricket is here to stay. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know what you think by tweeting me at Andre Sooklal on Twitter, because I would love to know what you guys think. Did I miss one? Is there one that you think that should be in there? Do you agree in the order in which it's been placed? Let me know what you think. Also, this episode of Extra Time TV has been brought to you by the Flow mobile sports app, where you could download and look at Flow Sports for free. So once again, thank you for joining me. It was terrible technique though. Darren Ganga wouldn't approve.